Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Malibu 540 Charmin. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. So you've got your sliding cargo door, habitation door. On there you do have a full-size fly screen which slides across. And then you've got some switches for your various lights, a 240 socket, but most of all you've got your electric step, which just retracts there, so make sure that is pulled in before you start driving off. And then just located underneath the door itself, you've got a grey lever. So this is your wastewater holding tank release lever. So anything you've put down a plug hole goes into a holding tank, and you'll want to drain this off when you leave site on the motorhome service bay, or especially in the winter when it could potentially freeze. If you just open it, it'll start draining out from the middle of the vehicle. In the winter, it's very important that you drain all water down, so this would be one source that you'd want to drain off. At the back here, you've got your freshwater intake. So with the key, this is a lockable cap. So I would carry your hose pipe and some hose pipe ends with you in the vehicle, as it's just a brass tap on most sites. Put your hose in there until it overflows, or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. You can see on the control panel, which I'll show you from inside, how much water is on board at any one time. At the back you've got your high level brake light, and you've got your reversing sensors on the bumper there. If you open the door, this is the bed in the folded up position, and then these bars just lift out. So if you were wanting to carry bikes in there, or you wanted to go off and get some furniture for the house and use the van, you'd lift these out, and then the false floor would come out, but these must go back in when the bed's in use. And this floor just lifts out, and you've got some tethering rails on the bottom. But located in this side, if we just lie the bed back down, so located just this side, if you lift this section out, so that is your freshwater tank. And obviously in the winter it's very important that you drain it down, or if you want to travel lighter, if you follow the instructions here, so if you turn it 2 times to the left, it'll start draining directly out underneath the vehicle to allow all the water that's held in there out. Or if you turn it halfway, it will hold the remaining of 20 litres in the tank, so you can stop and use the toilet and still have a little bit water, but you're travelling a little bit lighter, so you get a better payload and you're better on fuel. Come to this side, you've got your LPG gas locker. So you'll need 2 smaller bottles, so they don't fit a 6 kilogram, they fit a smaller one, which is about a 3.9 propane. And it's just a left hand thread, so opposite threads connects to here, and then hand tighten. And then always make sure it's turned off and strapped in when travelling. And then you just push these catches in. Coming round to the passenger side, you've got your vent for your Truma boiler. So your Truma boiler lives in the furniture behind underneath the bed, and that just allows all the fumes for the gas and water heater out when on gas or electric. And then here you've got your mains connectivity point. So to connect with power, lift the hookup lead collar up, lift the flap, slide that over the female point on the vehicle and connect. Always connect the vehicle first, then the power source, and obviously do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle, as we wouldn't want you to be walking around with a live lead. And then the next point we've got is your toilet. So again, opens with the main key, the Carthago key. Make sure the toilet is in position, so in the outer position, as it's a sliding toilet to give you a bigger shower space. And then what you'll need to do is ensure that the blade is in the closed position, otherwise the cassette won't come out. And then you would simply lift the orange handle, slide it out. You've got some wheels there so you can drag it to the waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside your shower and toilet block. Take the cap off, press the button, tip out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in, give it a rinse, tip out again. This button here just allows an air circulation in, so it gives it a consistent flow. And then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, either the green or the blue, a cap full straight into here, and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you're using the tablets, either the green or the blue tablet sachets, you can put a pint of water in here and drop one in here, or you can put the cassette in completely dry, pump some flush water into the cassette and drop the tablet down into the cassette. But always make sure it's about a pint of water that you put in there, so that will break the tablet sachet up into the chemical, and then if you just push it back into the vehicle, you'll know when it's clicked, it's back into position. Come to the door. On the passenger side, you've got your main diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key. And then because it's a new style diesel engine, it's got AdBlue. This is a 19-litre tank, and when it requires to be filled, it'll come up between the temperature and fuel gauge on the dashboard. If you top it up as soon as it comes on, otherwise it will go into limp mode, and if it goes completely dry of AdBlue, the engine won't start and you'll need Fate Assist to come and sort you out. So just make sure that as soon as it's come on, you just top it up. Tyre pressures are on here, so you've got 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. Your engine battery lives underneath the floor. Underneath the seat is where all your 12-volt fuses are for your leisure battery. So your pump, your lights, your various 12-volt appliances, fuses are here. So it would be a good idea to carry some spares, just in case anything did blow a fuse, you can fix it. And then you've got your bonnet release on the side of the passenger dashboard. We'll have a quick look underneath the bonnet. To the left, you've got all of your fluids. So you've got your screen wash. This lifts off and gives access to power steering and coolant. And then you do have your brake fluid as well. And then you do have your oil filler and dipstick. Paint code for the gold and white, which is 506. Your earth for giving or receiving a jump start. Then if you put your key just into here, lift this up, you've got your positive underneath there for giving or receiving a jump start should the vehicle be flat, or you're jumping using this vehicle to jump another vehicle. So above your habitation sliding door on the Malibu, this is your 12-volt control panel. So first of all, if you are hooked up and on mains electric, you have this button on here. So you have a light on there that shows that you're hooked up to mains power. If not, you'll just be able to turn on your 12-volt, but turning this on when you're hooked up will give you two 40-volt. And at the top you've got a music icon, so that will turn on your head unit if you want it on. So it'll send power from the leisure battery to the head unit, then you can manually turn that on and set it up, so if you want to use it when on site you can. And on this side at the top you've got the battery at the back of the vehicle, which is your leisure battery reading. Then you've got your fresh water reading and your wastewater reading. So you've got 25% of fresh, 0 waste, because we've just opened it. And the battery at the front of the van, which is your Fate Ducato engine battery. To this side, you've got your Truma control panel. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold. This is standby. Press to get in. You've got a motorhome with a thermometer in. This is how hot you want your vehicle. So you can have all the way to 30 degrees or all the way to off if you didn't want the heating on. So for this we'll just say 30 degrees, and then you would press enter, and that saved that heating to 30 degrees. Moving to the right, you've got the hot water. So if you've got no water in the boiler and don't have the hot water on, because just like putting a kettle on without any water in, you're going to burn the element. So you've got off, you've got eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the water, hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the water, and boost, which will prioritize the water, and it will turn the heating off to do this, to get the water hot first. So for this we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating water. And then you've got your energy source. So you've got gas on its own. If you're wild camping and weren't hooked up, you'd use gas. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got a mixture of 2 kilowatts in electric and gas, so both sources together on the higher output. Obviously in the winter, if you're desperate for water or heating, use these two. Both sources together will reduce the time it takes to heat the vehicle or the water. And then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, so the smaller feed should you be on a smaller CL site. And then you've got electric on 2 kilowatts, which you can use on most sites throughout the UK, depending on what other appliances you're running at the time. If it trips the vehicle out, you may have to turn it down to electric on 1, but for this we'll just say electric on 2 kilowatts. Moving to the right, you've got your fan, so you've got it on eco or high. Eco uses a smaller feed of 12 volt, and high, you'll hear the fans running, so if you want to have it on when sleeping, have it on eco. Bottom left hand corner has a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off. Then you've got the clock that displays the time on the main control panel, and in the bottom right hand corner you've got a spanner, so you can go to reset, press preset, and it will reset this control panel, and you'll have to go in and manually set everything back up like I've just shown you. Pressing and holding, it'll turn this panel off and back on. In the kitchen area you've got 2 gas burners, which light just off here. You've got your sink covers, which are also cutlery, or should I say chopping boards on the back. And then you've got that's showing that your water pump's working, and your hot water is getting nice and warm there through the water heater. Gas taps for the hob and cutlery drawer. Push these catches in to lock them when travelling. They've got 3 drawers there. And then you've got your fridge, so you've got a travel catch here, so you can either have it on that one or see the back one, or if you pull it forward and put it onto this one, it obviously allows air through the rubber, so you'd have that on that when you have winterized the fridge, cleaned it out, and obviously left the door ajar to stop any smells and bacteria from growing in the fridge. But this is just a 12 volt compression fridge and works through here, so you just choose your temperature, so you can turn it off or you can turn it on, and it's just a 12 volt compressor fridge, so it'll work off mains electric or off the leisure battery. And you've got a small freezer box there as well. Pushing the handles down releases the doors from the travel catch, so you've got storage above, a mains 3-pin plug. So in the washroom area, so this is when the toilet is in the position to be used. So as long as you've got water on board and your 12 volts turned on, you'll be able to press this button, which is your electric freshwater flush, and flush the toilet. Always flush it first. Then what you want to do is open the blade, which is slide this grey lever to the right. Doing that lubricates the blade and stops the blade from, or should I say the seal, from becoming hard and brittle. Use the toilet with it open, then flush, and then slide to the left. If you push this down, so once you've closed the lid, if you push this down with your foot, you can slide the toilet away and you've got a larger showering space. You've got your drop down sink with your tap there, but once you've used it, do be careful that you just push a small volume of water down at a time, as it goes into a recess that then has to go through a drain into your waste tank. Toiletry cabinets. Your skylight you just push, slide open or slide into the grooves should you want a nice bit of ventilation on a non-windy day. Blackout blind and fly screen, that's the same for that skylight as well. Shower screens, you just tie them back when travelling and they'll cover this area. And then when you winterise, and if you leave all your mixer taps in the open position, remove your shower head from the hose, allow the hose to lie in the shower tray. Any water that is coiled up in here will just drain out via the waste plug and out the waste tank, because that would be open from outside. Got a heating duct in here as well, so you can have your bathroom nice and heated. So if you did want to put your bikes inside, obviously removing the bars which I've said from outside and the false floor, then this panel would just lift out. So just slide out the way, lift the bar out, lift your false double floor, and then in here is where your boiler lives. So it holds 10 litres of hot water at any one time. Obviously when that water's in use it's warm, but obviously if it was in storage or parked on the drive without the hot water system being turned on, which is very rare that you're going to have the hot water system turned on when the vehicle's standing, especially in the winter, you want to drain it off, because that water can freeze, crack this boiler, and this boiler isn't covered under warranty for frost damage, as it's your responsibility to drain it off. So what you'd simply do is, there's a diamond here and there's a blue button on the bottom. The blue button pops out and the diamond goes across with a nib. Leave it in the open position during the time the vehicle is stood up, not being used. That means any water can't freeze. The 10 litres of water will drain directly out of the chassis, underneath the chassis. And then when you do come to reuse it, if you shut all the taps, so all the mixer taps, the waste, the fresh, the boiler, fill with water, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a steady pressurized flow on one tap. Do them all, and then all it's doing is it's kicking the air out of here until it's all pressurized, and then you can do each an individual tap, and then it is primed for the season. You'll also want to lift this brown toggle, which is just for the hot water lines, so it will drain any water that's in the pipelines throughout the vehicle. But remember, drain it off in the winter when not in use, because you don't want it to freeze, because it's a very costly mistake to make. So in the front half dinette, you've got obviously your 2 travelling seat belts. Even though this is a 2 berth, you can travel 4 legally. Got storage in there. Your table, you press this down and then you're able to spin the bottom table round, so if you had the cab seats turned, all 4 can dine at the table. And then you've got the coach bolts here, so release, and you've got a bit of storage underneath the floor, 2 heater vents and a 3-pin plug, and then that just tucks away. Storage, and some storage over the cab. And then to open this skylight, you just wind it open and wind it closed. Obviously make sure all skylights and windows are firmly closed before travelling. Fly screen and blackout blind, and if you just pinch in the middle, these 2 will depart. So now in the cab, which is based on a Fiat Ducato, you've got the handbrake to your right, and then on the door you've got your passenger and driver electric windows and mirror adjustments, which are just both. So you've got 2 adjustments on each mirror. Pinch and slide your Remus carb lines out on both driver and passenger door. And then on the windscreen, pinch, magnetic strip on there so it blacks the windscreen out on an evening. And then down here you've got your headlight adjustment and your rear fog lights. Trip computer, so you just press this and you'll see all your travelling times, distance travelled, miles per gallon, instant consumption and range on the end of the wiper stalk. Lights and indicators off. Cruise control at the top, get your desired speed, push up. Should you want to speed up, you can push it up. Should you want to slow down, you can pull it down. Cancel with a foot brake or cancel on the end of the stalk. You can resume it to the last speed set before the engine was turned off, and then go all the way down. You've got a speed limiter, so go lift up slowly, it goes up in 1s, lift and hold, it goes up in 5s, and then you do have the kick down function, so you can override the speed limiter when the accelerator pedal is pushed flat to the floor. Otherwise it will just go to the set speed that's set on the speed limiter. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift into reverse, brings on the rear sensors, and then you've got traction control plus hill descent control, which is useless on a manual, it's more for an automatic, so forget about that button. Hazards, locks the doors on an evening, and you've got your heated mirrors. USB and 12 volt point for charging only. In the top glove box here there is 2 USBs for the head unit. You've got your temperature on the outside ring, fan speed on the out, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this one here. And then you've got your distribution, so where the air is blown to and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air within the vehicle. And then this vehicle is fitted with a Pioneer head unit. So go to the menu here, you've got the radio, which is FM or DAB, and you just search for a channel, press 1 to 6 to save. You've got a CD, should a CD be inserted, Bluetooth, so to connect to Bluetooth you go to the phone. You'd want to find on your phone, so start searching for Pioneer head unit, and then go to connections in the settings and it'll search for your phone on here as well. And then should you find it, just press pair. Once you've paired with it, if you then it'll ask if you want to sync your contacts, just press allow and your phone book will be downloaded into the vehicle. So whoever rings will come up with a name instead of just a number. You've got DAB there, so you've got obviously FM, DAB, Bluetooth, USB 1 and 2 when they are inserted into something, and you've got sat nav. So click on the sat nav on the right hand side, then click on the buttons, press new route, address, pop your postcode in the middle one, go to town, set as destination, and that is how your sat nav works. Or you can just have it on as a map so you know where you're driving. And on this side you obviously get a summary, so you get your arrival, time left, distance, your kilometers per hour, your arrival, your time that's left, and your distance on both sides and where you're heading. But you can have this on when on site for a radio off the button at the back by just pressing the music icon on the control panel. Sends a feed from the leisure battery to the head unit, so it powers it up off the leisure battery, so there's no chance that you're going to drain it off the vehicle battery. And then above it, pull this up, so don't be frightened to be a bit rough with this. You've got to pull it up from the back, you've got a paper clip or you've got a phone holder there, and then pushing this in locks the jaws, so it'll keep your phone or your sat nav in place there, and then that'll just fold back down.